Hi there and welcome to the Dawn Show. Dawn Stensland-Menti here. We are live and we are local, and boy do we have a treat for you today. Today, the March of Dimes celebrating 75 years of service, and then later in the show, environmentally friendly home improvement that you need to hear about. Now, whether you realize it or not, somebody in your life, somebody you know, has been touched, maybe their life saved by the March of Dimes. So we want to promote a future event coming up and really educate ourselves on what the March of Dimes is all about. My first guests, Angela Christman and her beautiful daughter Gianna, spokespersons for the March of Dimes, and have a personal story to share about the March of Dimes and what it has done for you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us on.
So first of all, tell me Gianna's story. In other words, when were you born, Gianna? How many weeks were you?
I was 15 weeks early. I was born August 5th, 2003.
So you were born at 25 weeks, 15 early. And how big were you, Gianna?
I was 12 inches.
12 inches. How many pounds?
I was 1 pound, 12 ounces.
So you probably fit like a little kitten. You were just tiny. Now you're 10 years old and you're beautiful and healthy. And so as a mom, and look at these pictures. They're the baby pictures of you. Yeah. And so as a mom, tell me, Angela, what that was like for you to have this tiny, tiny baby. And I imagine you were praying and just saying, please, I hope that she's going to be okay.
Absolutely. It was the most horrifying time in my life. Up until 24 weeks, my pregnancy was perfectly normal. And then when I got to 24 and a half weeks, I woke up one morning with a lot of pain, and I knew it wasn't normal. So I'd gone to the hospital and found out I was in labor. And I was frightened. I didn't know what to expect. And at that time, I didn't know any babies that had been born that early.
Except your sister.
Except my sister. And
this is what really terrified you, going back many years ago.
Right.
What was your sister's fate?
She only lived a few hours.
So this is the March of Dimes, the difference over the decades.
Absolutely. The technology wasn't there then.
So research funded, in other words, by the March of Dimes,
absolutely,
saved your daughter's life.
Yes.
With the surfactant to help her lungs build and so she could breathe.
Absolutely. Surfactant is a miracle drug, and if not for the March of Dimes research and finding surfactant, I really believe the outcome would have been so much different for her.
So take me through that day, particularly because you knew about, you remembered your sister's birth and knew what happened there. And so it's the happiest time of your life as a pregnant mommy. And now all of a sudden, take me through the emotion of that day and learning.
So I had just actually gotten to 25 weeks exactly, and my water broke. And I was told I was going to have an emergency C-section. I was frightened. I really didn't know what to expect. And after she was born, I didn't hear her cry. I didn't even get to see her. She was swept off by the NICU team so quickly that everything you expect in a normal delivery wasn't there. The only thing I had was one of the nurses had handed me a little hat, and I held on to the hat, and that was all I had. A few pictures were taken that I eventually saw later, but I didn't get to see her until I came out of recovery. And when I saw her, it was frightening. She had an ET tube. She was on a ventilator. She had wires connected all over her body. She was so tiny. I'd never seen a baby that small. And it was just very, very fearful.
And so to look at you now, do you ever tell this story? Because Noah, you're so beautiful and tall and healthy. What does it mean to you when you think about the March of Dimes? And I know you go to fundraisers and you're a spokesperson for the March of Dimes. So what do you want to tell people about supporting the March of Dimes?
I just tell them that I really like to help support the March of Dimes. I tell them that if you donate money, this goes to help save the babies that are premature, the micro-preemies, and
that's a great, beautiful message, because you know what? People never know. I have a nephew. You never know when, and look at all these fun pictures of you as you get to walk red carpets now. You're a celebrity. Yeah. We have Team Gianna for the March of Dimes fundraisers. But that's just it. You never know until it happens to you, the difference that the March of Dimes has made in your lives. So with your journey with Gianna, what else what else happened along the way? Did she have health issues?
She
or-
did, yes. So she was in the hospital 129 days, and during that time, she needed a heart surgery. She had the PDA, it's a ductus to the heart, and that remains open a lot of times with premature babies. They don't take that first breath of air, so it's unable to close. So she needed a surgery to close her PDA. She needed laser surgery for her eyes. She required several blood transfusions, and there was just so many ups and downs. There was one night where she had what they call a bronchospasm, and they ended up needing to code her that night. It was the most frightening night of the whole time that we were there. I really didn't know what the outcome was going to be and what the long-term effects would be from that event. Fortunately, there were no long-term effects from that. They were concerned about injury to the brain, but after 129 days, she was able to come home, and the only complication she still has is the visual impairment.
But the March of Dimes, in other words, is still helping your daughter, still helping Gianna to this day.
Absolutely.
And all the research.
Absolutely.
Well, Angela and Gianna, I want to thank you so much for your inspirational story. God bless you for all that you've been through and for coming out and just sharing your story with people. But I know you wanted to say hi to some people before we thank you and go to break. Who did you want to thank, Gianna?
I want to thank my dad. I would have liked to thank my gram, my mama, my parents, of course.
Well, you're a great spokesperson, that's for sure. Gianna and Angela, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the event, which we're going to talk about, and how you all can get involved in an awesome March of Dimes fundraising event coming up. The Dawn Show continues right after this.